we'll start with Beth.
I'm Beth Schiller, public member.
Richard Burley, public member from Cliff Island.
Laura Graham, Director, LMF.
Pat Kelleher, DMR Commissioner Chair.
Judy Canuso, Maine Fish and Wildlife Commissioner.
Mike Hunter, public member from Amherst.
Barbara Trafton, public member from Brunswick.
And online, Catherine.
Yes, good morning. Catherine Robbins Halstead, public member, Searsmont.
Now, here because of the volume. We'll go to staff.
Oh, Jason Dulay, LMS Senior Planner.
Julia Legio, Office Specialist.
Staff, but please introduce yourself.
Ron Nickerson Turner, just a public member.
David Bryman, Cape Elizabeth Land Trust.
Laura Drury, IFW.
You should have per diem forms somewhere in packets. Just remind everybody to make sure they get to staff. We're gonna jump right into the agenda today. So just as a reminder, we're gonna be going into executive session where we will talk about scoring and allocations. And we'll do that. We do have a member of the public here who has asked to speak. It is in regards to a project outside of the bounds of formal public comment period. But he's traveled a long way and they've given him 2 minutes. Oh, DoorDash is here. DoorDash is here. So I will give Ron a couple minutes, just prior to going into. So with that, let's go right to the ground rules for the day. Jason, can you, or is that you like to just get rid of the transcript? Oh, yeah. I'll stop trying to read the transcript.
I know, there's typos. I didn't say that.
Great. Thank you, Charlie. So again, ground rules, public attendance is always welcome. This is a working meeting. Board members may direct questions to the, well, we don't have the applicant here today, but just for the flow, just make sure if we've got questions to direct them through the chair. As a reminder, the proposals are confidential until they are scored and we make them public. This prevents undue influence on the board through the scoring process. Board members will refrain from discussing proposals that. So you have one applicant in the room and we're going to kick him out. No offense. And I'm not going to read the same screen like I did. So scoring is going to be based on the information contained in the proposal. I think the process that we've set up in the last couple rounds where Jason will show us the combined scores and staff scores, we can quickly go through and highlight those. That'll be the same. I would recommend the same approach that we've taken in the past. Conflict of interest. LMS statute says if a charge of bias or personal financial interest, direct or indirect, filed against a member requesting that member to withdraw from the proceedings of the board, that member shall determine whether or not to withdraw and shall make the determination part of the record of that proceeding. I don't believe we have any conflict of interest or bias here with any of these proposals based on any information that's been given to me. So I think we're all good there. The board will endeavor to stick to the agenda and avoid the broader topics. Jim's not here.
But I'm in his seat, so watch out. Watch out.
Jim, if you're listening, my fault.
He's fishing.
That's right. And is that the last slide in the ground rules? Consensus scoring. Laura, I'm going to have you do consensus scoring.
You betcha. Okay, the goal of the scoring and evaluation process is to ensure fairness and objectivity in the review of these proposals and ensure the funds are awarded to the bidders whose proposal best satisfies the criteria of the RFP, aka the LMF workbook. Note taking is much more yesterday direction than today, but if you do take notes, you got to give them to us. Put your name on them and give them to us. And board scoring is by consensus. Consensus means that everyone can live with this decision, although they might not totally agree. Differences of opinion are expected. If consensus cannot be reached, the board will take a vote. Previous board, I thought about that too, what you just said, what you said. If there is general consensus, these are previous approaches we take into the consensus process. The board adopts the board average score. If there are scoring discrepancies or if the average score is not an eligible score, the board will review and discuss the scoring criteria. And a reminder, projects will qualify for points under multiple land assets or single exceptional value. We have a whole host of slides on the scoring system itself. Do you want me to go through those?
I think it would be a good reminder. when
Okay,
we do
good.
that.
Good. Okay, here are the base criteria. Let's see this. These all add up to 150, 100 points on the top, 50 on the bottom for bonus. Should be familiar to you all. Naturalness of the land, accessibility, proximity to conservation land, project need, multiple land assets or single exceptional value, community/economic impact and municipal support, and then the variety of bonus options underneath. I think we can go to the next slide.
Okay.
And here's the naturalness of the land. This is how we are going to arrive at a perfect 10. The land has little or no discernible human impact, all the way down to a 0 to 1, and it has extensive site disturbance or improvements, which will severely impede the use of the property for its intended purposes, or it does not have a high probability of being successfully restored. And between those two extremes are a variety of gradations. Do you need to read all of those? I didn't think so. Let's go to the next slide. And then we have accessibility to the land for its intended use. This is, we've added since last time. We have for 5 points at the very bottom, there is an option for the property is accessed by a private road that provides access for passenger vehicles and is open to the public, but is not guaranteed as defined by LMF and Appendix H, and that's that guaranteed public vehicular access we've been talking about. So they can still get 5 points if there is in fact in our workbook access, de facto access. Stop me if I don't, I mean, this is just right out of it, yeah. So then proximity to other conservation lands or larger conservation efforts. The first section, plan implementation, maximum points of 5. If it's identified as a priority in a statewide, regional, local conservation recreation planning, or at the very bottom, 0 points, it doesn't implement any conservation or recreation plans and points in between. Okay. And then connectivity, building upon or connecting existing conservation holdings. If it connects 2 or more, then it can be eligible for 5 points. If it's not adjacent to any, it's 0 points in between. Okay. Project need, great need. It will protect resources that are rare or unique, are under severe threat, are in high demand, and or not well represented on conserved lands in Maine. Down to minor need. Resources are not rare, threatened, or underrepresented due to an abundance of similar resources. Okay. There you have all the multiple land assets and significance. I won't read those, but that's them. And then single exceptional value. I think this is something we're going to see in this round ever for us. I think seeing single exceptional value is if the land proposed for acquisition is documented to demonstrate a single exceptional value that is exceptionally rare and of outstanding significance in a statewide context, then it should be evaluated to determine if it will be awarded 30 points. An award of points in the category will be infrequent. This is an all or nothing point score. It is instead of multiple land asset scores. The land is documented to demonstrate a single exceptional value recognized as being the best or among the best in the state of its type. And this value is supported by comprehensive published reports, data, and credible testimony. Should I keep going or should I breathe?
Breathe.
Okay.
I think you're good. Just quickly.
All right. Community and economic impact. We have a range here. A really good documentation of economic impact, lots of testimony down to.
This is not a range, these are subcategories.
Oh, these are subcategories. Sorry. Demonstrates a positive impact on economic development through lots of letters of support. Demonstrates for 2 points inclusion of low income or otherwise disadvantaged communities. And you'll see the footnote down there that probably no one can read. We define this as those who've experienced historical and ongoing systemic discrimination, restricted power, and underrepresentation in state policy. We put this directly into our workbook so we know what we're talking about here. The third category demonstrates community health and wellness impact via narrative and letters of support from relevant groups. And the final category is provide green space or outdoor recreational opportunities in areas where outdoor recreation may be limited and or increases connection between conserved lands and one or more of Maine's service centers as defined by the Municipal Planning Assistance Program. I did not bring up a list of service centers. My apologies. We needed, I'll look it up on my laptop. Okay. Municipal support. This is back to a range. At the top, it provides lots of evidence of municipal support, including and further evidence such as matching funds or commitments to stewardship, lots of letters, and this commitment. Down to the zero, it doesn't provide any evidence of support from the municipalities in which it's located. And for projects in unorganized territories, we asked applicants to demonstrate support from the county commissioners. Okay. Bonus points. For bonus points for significant undeveloped archaeological sites, you must have a written endorsement from the Maine Historic Preservation Commission that describes the significance of the archaeological resources on the site. Alternatively, a proposal for which the major land asset category is based primarily on archaeological values must be sponsored by the commission.
Well, I think we have it before, so it probably needs, language should be changed.
Yeah, we probably do need to revisit that. Public water supply. This has I think this has some changes over last year. Each of these things must be true. It's got to be located within one of these areas mapped. And it has to include a letter of support from the water district, and protection of it has to be consistent with our own LMS natural resource purposes, especially public recreational access and use.
Or to go any farther. An email just came in from Commissioner Beal and she's having trouble accessing the link. Could somebody resend Commissioner Beal the link?
No,
Okay.
I'm here. Thank
You
you.
are here. Oh, thank goodness. So thank you.
They turn the volume.
It's here. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thanks.
Can somebody online say something so we can see if you were still too loud?
Mr. Beal, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you perfectly.
A little too soft.
A little too soft. Thank you.
Thank you. Our pause is to adjust the volume in the room. It was a little high.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, next slide. We're almost through. Bonus points, community accessibility, a maximum of 10 points. If this is located within a half mile of and accessible on foot from a residential neighborhood, public school, downtown area, public transportation stop, or will otherwise be accessible on foot for a large number of Maine residents, it can qualify for 10 points. Or if it's accessible by vehicle and has a trailhead within approximately 10 miles of one or more of Maine's service centers as defined by the Municipal Planning Assistance Program, it can qualify for 5 points. Okay. All right. Climate change adaptations. If on the MNAP report for resiliency, the project scored greater than 1 standard deviation of more resilient, then it can get 5 points for that. If it qualifies for marsh migration modeling on the MNAP score, it could qualify for 5 points. If it's slightly more resilient, 0.5 to 1 standard deviation above resilient, then 3 points. And so those are sort of alternative opportunities within the part A of climate resilience. And then for underrepresented geophysical settings, if the property contains at least one geophysical setting that is underrepresented within the biophysical region in which it is located, and the underrepresented geophysical setting is 100 acres or larger in size, or covers at least 50% of the property, then it can qualify for those additional 5 points. Okay. Your wintering area, and this one is, so for the bonus points, our statute limits these points to those projects that meet all of these conditions. The holder of the fee or easement will be the Maine Department of Inland Fisheries and Wildlife. The land will be managed by the Maine Department of Inland Fisheries and Wildlife as a wildlife management area with deer as the highest management priority. And lands identified as priority deer wintering areas by Maine Department of Inland Fisheries and Wildlife, they've identified this land. And we can certainly fund other projects that protect deer habitat that absolutely can be part of land supporting vital ecological functions, but they don't qualify for these bonus points. Other board considerations, these are the qualitative. Can I just say these are qualitative?
That's perfect.
Okay, good. Plus minus when things are close. You don't have to worry about running past a slide and getting us into unhappy territory. I created a buffer slide. So.
Okay, so that's just a quick reminder of, very easy scoring system. But it has served us well over the years. So, any questions or comments on scoring? Any, why don't we go right to available funds so we know what we're.
We got to spend. So this number won't look too unfamiliar. The same number as yesterday. These are the 30 million that we have in our community conservation funds for conservation and rec. The set asides came right off the top with an agency MOU off the top. We have remaining, after we account for current project allocations and what we've already spent, $6,208,043. That is purely available for pure project acquisition costs. We don't have to factor in set asides. That's what we can spend today. Good conscience. And it also does not include interest and all those other kinds of funds.
And just remind us, if we were to fund everything here.
Yes. Next slide, please, Jason.
Okay.
So if we were to fund everything here at 100%, we would have 1.3, well, on the left, those are set asides. Those are with set asides. On the right, sticking with the same format I just shared with you, we would have oh my gosh, I can't remember, 1.196562 left over. So we've got some breathing room, but it'll be skinny at that point, I would say.
Yeah. Right. Okay.
And where does that, thinking about that $1 million, how long does that need to take carrying it forward? So
When
we
we gonna
have,
get more money? Yeah, Commissioner. When we gonna-
Understand, I mean, these are non-lapsing funds.
Right.
So we're all set there. I mean, the next round of funds is still in question, but you know, I'd like to think this is a high priority for the governor. We have she has one more biennial budget, which we will start planning for, well, we're already planning for, actually. And so I will hope to see either bonds or general fund contribution within the discussions at the legislature next year.
Can you give me a month next year when this would be likely down to the, reasonably optimistic?
Yeah, so they'll be back in session in January with the brand new legislature. So that will be the long session, so we might not know of what the next funding round is going to look like until May, June.
That would consume general funds appropriation. If we had to go to bond, it would be.
Yeah, because then it's going to vote.
So I'll say that these monies have to carry us for more than a year.
Yeah, but I would also say that from a staff perspective, they'll be busy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
So,
real busy.
yeah, our workload might be a little less, but I also think that may give us some time to think through some of the scoring issues, the workbook issues we put on hold, the conversations around priority areas for funding that you and I have talked about from the perspective of especially Aroostook and Washington County, where this program seems to be underserving. So I think those are all really good things that could drive some conversations while we're waiting for the next round of funding. Yeah. Okay.
Hey, like field trips.
That's what that $1 million of interest is.
Yeah, got it. Boats on the water today.
Okay, excellent, excellent. Maybe Tommy's house will be available. There's plenty of bedrooms.
And
Okay.
in terms of our work, though, we do have money in other funds. So We still
Yes.
will be working in water access.
Yeah.
We still have
That's
working
right.
waterfront funds. We still have
Yeah.
land funds.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, wicked water access, we have almost the full suite of fund. We don't have a lot of expenditures or allocations in water access right now.
Which means that if we wanted to do more in recreation, we can, just as we move monies into water access, we could move them out of water access.
Not-
back into.
Not these, because these are the minimum. When the legislature gave us the 40 million, they said you have to allocate these 2 million to water access. So we don't have anything in there that's not that.
Okay, so the monies that we moved have all been expended.
No, maybe we're talking about things, but the 2 million that we have allocated water access right now are earmarked by the legislature. We can't move them out of there into CNR.
I think, yeah, the board had previously been moving funds from CNR to water access. Those are all gone.
Those are all.
Those are all.
Yes, we don't have any other money. This is what we have for CNR. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay. You know, Pat, I'm thinking back to about 2001 or two, we did hold a meeting on my boat. One of these meetings.
On your boat.
Yeah.
How was public access of that?
We waited at the dock. No one left to show up.
Yeah, there you go. Perfect. Okay, any questions around available funds? Seeing none. At this time, we do, as I said, we do have a member of the public that would like to say a couple words. I'm going to allow that to happen. We'll see if there's any other members of the public online or in the room that have comments, and then we will, then at that point in time, when we are ready, I'll need a motion to go into executive session. So with that, I'm going to turn to Ron first, since you're in the room.
It should be entertaining. I like to be prepared, but I'm really not, so I'll just kind of wing it. My name is Ron Nickerson. I'm from Turner. This has to do with the Dean Pond project in Green. I'm also an abutting landowner on two sides of the Dean Pond area. And I've actually opened the, kept this land open on the top as far as visibility and access trails for either the public or snowmobiles or kids on dirt bikes, and pretty much anything. If you can drive on it, you can go on it. Where to begin? I just actually met yesterday with Mark Burgess. He's a land developer, and he owns on two sides of this property. He actually walked one of the right-of-ways because he was looking at also purchasing it. And he's the one that 25 years ago, the leads access to this is wood related only. So it's not for the public. The right-of-way that was put in for this specific property from the Quaker Ridge Road is so steep, they didn't even cut the wood. And it's tree to tree as far as climbing up the road. The other right-of-way on the Allen Pond Road, there's not even room for 3 vehicles to park on the side of the road because of the visibility. The other day, Barbara asked about as far as how do we get to this property? Well, what really got my attention, they mentioned that they drove up a gravel road, which is true. There's 2 gravel roads to this property. One, I put a gate on. It's closed to the public. It's my lock, it's my chain. It's on 2 other landowners among 8 landowners that are abutting this property. They're against ALT purchasing this property. The right-of-way that not the right-of-way, the entrance that they came on, that Amy was speaking about the gravel entrance, is a private road of mine that does tie into a right-of-way that could be public access. But if you have someone, a land developer like a Mark Burgess, that has blasting and owns on 2 sides of the property, sometimes you don't have to rush things. I'm not against conserving the Dean Pond project, I'm very much for it. But if it's not planned properly, there's already 3 or 4 landowners that have dropped junk next to this right away. We're very much, as far as trailers, boat trailers, camper trailers, used metal. There's landowners that do not want these trails that I've kept open for years being closed down because they want to keep them. A lot of the state trails, kids on dirt bikes, sometimes on 4-wheelers, a lot of trails are restrictions.
Ron, I'm gonna ask you to try to wrap it up.
Yeah.
Okay.
I also have a question. So why are the landowners dropping trash?
Not necessarily trash. Put it this way, if you were looking at purchasing land and like, for example, you want to go take a look at this property. If you realize you have to go tree to tree to get to it, or you have to have wood-related access, like you're looking for Christmas trees in the summer or wood to get in. That's just one way of deferring someone from purchasing this property. There's a history behind this with the current owners. Their ethics of how they snuck in and grabbed it from me, we'll just say are not a good situation. And
We need to continue to move on here. So if you had a couple other quick comments, then,
the ALT mentioned they were looking at another 50 acres to purchase to possible access this property. Why would they not want to possibly talk with me when I have a road that goes right onto this property that you can drive with a 2-wheel drive vehicle? And they haven't approached me about working with me. I'm only interested in about 10 to 30 acres on top. I'm more than interested in helping them fund this whole project. There's just been some discrepancies in the past with the people that snuck in and grabbed it very unethically. And there's just a snowball, a chain reaction. I just want this process on this purchase to slow down and be done properly. Because if it goes into, a purchase and things are blocked from me assisting in the future, there's multiple landowners, including myself. They will need to look for other ways to have the public come in and take a look at this. Because as of right now, 80+% of the property, 80% of the public come across 2 areas of my land to get to this property. So I just want more time.
okay, appreciate that, Ron. Thank you for your comments.
Any questions?
This is actually not, would be just an opportunity for public comment, not a back and forth with the board. As I explained to Ron at the last meeting, the formal public comment period will happen as if we go through an allocation process. It will be advertised, and I explained that we would need to receive written comments. But because he's participated the last 2 days, I wanted to give him the opportunity to just make sure the board was aware of some of the concerns we were hearing.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that. Thank you very much for your comment. Is there anybody else in the room that has any comments in regards to, that will make any issues, to bring any issues to the board? Anybody online? Seeing none, then what we will do is I'd like to have a motion made to go into executive session.
I have a slide.
Okay.
What's that?
We have slides for that if you want, but it sounds like you have all you need.
I don't need a slide.
Okay, good.
So we have a motion and a second on the table. Is there any objections to going into executive session? Seeing no objections in the room or online, we will be going to executive session. So at this time, we will be closing this webinar. And for the board members that are online, you should have a link from Laura that was sent last night. So if you could go to that link, and then we will start back up in 5 minutes. So,
Thank you.
great. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. You don't have
So I am calling the meeting of the Land Maine Future Board back into session. We have officially come out of our executive session where we have reviewed the scores of each project and had some really good discussions. Obviously, some really excellent projects that have been presented to the board. And it's always good to see the quality of projects that are coming before us. So without further ado, I believe we do have a motion ready to put up on the board. Would anybody like to make that motion? Barbara?
I move that that the following projects receive a preliminary allocation of $4,516,481 of LMF Conservation and Recreation Funds. Bean Pond Conservation Project, Long Pond East Shore Preserve, McKay Woodlands, Muddy River, Wiles, is that Wiles? Parcel? Old Woods Farm, Owl Pond, Partridge Cove, Peninsula Woodlands Conservation Project, Porter Hills Phase 2, Silverbrook Preserve, South Thomaston Forest Preserve, Stage Island, Sunkhazy Stream Forest, Watson Woods, and Witten Woods.
Second.
Motion by Barbara, seconded by Roger. Is there any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, is there any objections to the motion? Seeing no objections either online or in the room, the motion passes. Congratulations to those who have received preliminary allocations. We have any other work?
We do not. Jason, do you want to just skip to the screen where we talk about next board meeting? And I think that's it. I don't think we have anything
No,
else.
no, we don't have anything else.
Okay.
Okay, next board meeting, the AOC is meeting on June 7th. Did we resolve membership of the AOC?
We have our Barbara and Catherine, and then I'm going to town on the review appraiser.
Okay,
Yeah.
and so Jim,
He's
he is, now he's
still
off. He's
Now
all
that
done. Okay,
Catherine
okay.
stepped up,
Just the
Okay.
women.
just the women.
And the next board meeting is June 25th. There's a chance I'm not gonna be.
I'm not gonna be here either.
You're not gonna be here either.
Yeah.
Okay, so, Commissioner Beal, that may be, you might be on deck for, chairing the June 25th meeting, but I'll know my schedule better, in early June. I think I've got to go to Canada.
She doesn't seem like, oh, she's not looking. We could
I'm
also,
not gonna be here on the 25th either.
you could change the board meeting date.
May have, so.
Yeah. So sorry about that.
Yeah, it's 10 hours after I get back from Alaska.
So, yeah, I think we need to work on, if that's the case.
Let's do a Google.
Yeah.
Could you do
Do it,
that?
I'll do a Google, some kind of something, yeah.
And can you include probably Shar, Becky, and Kathy in the Google poll?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
People who are actually in control of our.
Yes, yeah, who really know what's going on, yes.
Although I would note that you do have public members here who have run meetings before, so if this ever happens again and we couldn't find a date, possibly one of the.
I don't know, it's making me nervous.
But you wouldn't, you still have to have a quorum.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Quorum that you get
Yeah.
to
But there are 6 public members.
Yes.
So you'll be all set.
Yeah.
Go without us then.
Good. Okay.
What?
If we were.
If we were.
Okay. All right.
Over adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
Second, third, fourth, all over the place. We stand adjourned. Thank you very much, everybody. And congratulations to all those applicants.
Thank you, and thank you again for the accommodation, your food.
Yeah.
I don't think it's raining.
All right.
Okay.
So Judy, if you want to hear the vote.
And of course, our everything else.
You might sell it. I mean, you just made us.
So if they decide the ideal time, I mean, it depends on your.